Something unusual just happened with Samsung, and it's not what you think. A phone that isn't even part of the S25 series just jumped ahead of the pack with the One UI 8 update based on Android 16. But here's the twist. It wasn't announced, there was no event, no official blog post, and yet the Galaxy S23 FE is already being tested with the next generation software. And if that's happening under the radar, you better believe something big is brewing behind the scenes. Sam here, back again with something you absolutely don't want to miss. If you've been waiting on Android 16 or curious how Samsung's rollout plan might flip this year, this video will blow your mind. So sit tight, we're diving deep into a real plus in Samsung software timeline. Let's start with the facts. Samsung has quietly started testing One UI 8 on the Galaxy S23 FE. This isn't a rumor. A listing popped up in Geekbench's database showing the S23 FE running Android 16, and it wasn't just a placeholder, it was a genuine early test build. And the interesting part, the model number confirms this is the international variant of the S23 FE, not some hidden developer-only device. That tells us testing has moved from internal sandbox mode to actual real-world performance benchmarking. Now, here's why this matters more than you might think. The Galaxy S23 FE isn't Samsung's top-of-the-line device. It's a fan favorite, sure, but traditionally, it doesn't lead software rollouts. That honor usually goes to the S Ultra or Fold series. So for Samsung to prioritize the S23 FE for early Android 16 testing, that's a huge shift. It suggests Samsung might be shaking up its entire software strategy. This might be part of Samsung's broader push to make mid-range devices more competitive and future-proof. Remember, last year's A-series phones saw surprisingly fast updates, and this time the S23 FE is stealing the spotlight, possibly as a testbed for making the broader rollout smoother. One UI 7 was built on Android 14. It brought tons of customization improvements, smoother animations, lock screen personalization, and better cross-device syncing. But One UI 8, it's about to take everything to the next level, especially when paired with Galaxy AI. Samsung is betting big on AI, and One UI 8 is going to be the bridge. Expect smarter predictive tools, better battery optimizations based on usage patterns, and more seamless integration with Galaxy watches, tablets, and earbuds. And this isn't just about features, it's about speed and longevity. If Samsung starts rolling out these updates to phones like the S23 FE before the flagships, it could change how the ecosystem is prioritized. Now let's talk performance. In the Geekbench listing, the Galaxy S23 FE scored similar numbers to what we saw with Android 4.3, but with one key difference. The thermal stability was better. That might not sound like a big deal, but it means Samsung is optimizing One UI 8 to run cooler even during benchmarks and high-performance tasks. And don't forget, the Exynos 2200 chipset S23 FE was often criticized for being a bit too warm under pressure. If One UI 8 is helping resolve that, Samsung might actually redeem that chip and extend the life of this phone well beyond expectations. Let's dive deeper into what features One UI 8 might include. Based on leaks and early code discoveries, we're expecting smarter Bixby routines that integrate with Galaxy AI, even more granular lock screen widgets, a true universal clipboard across Galaxy devices, and a new privacy dashboard that gives you real-time alerts when apps access your mic or camera. That last one. A lot of users have been asking for that since Android 12, and Samsung seems to be finally delivering it with its own spin. And speaking of privacy, Samsung is testing a new feature called Safe Share Pro, which supposedly allows you to share files with expiration timers, one-time open permissions, and screenshot blocking. Think of it like Snapchat for your files, but built into the OS itself. Now, where does this leave the S25 Ultra? Well, as of now, there's no sign of Android 16 or One UI 8 testing on it in the wild. That doesn't mean it isn't happening. It's likely being done under a stricter NDA, but it does suggest the S23 FE's public testing is meant to gather real-time data without the scrutiny that comes with flagship testing. This could mean Samsung is planning to finalize One UI 8 on the S23 FE before pushing it to more premium devices like the S24 Ultra, Z Fold 6, or the S25 lineup. And if that's the case, expect a rollout that prioritizes stability over marketing splash. Let's talk rollout timeline. Samsung typically launches its stable One UI version between October and December. If testing on the S23 FE is already underway in July, that's a full 203 months ahead of schedule. That might signal a much earlier public beta program, possibly as soon as August. And there's more. Internal sources suggest Samsung wants to align its Android 16 rollout with the debut of the Galaxy S24 FE, which could arrive as early as September or October. That would mean Samsung is trying to launch a new phone with One UI 8 out of the box, instead of updating it post-launch. That's a bold move, and it would make the S24 FE the first Galaxy phone to launch with Android 16 and One UI 8 pre-installed. It's a complete reversal of what happened with the S21 FE, which launched late and with outdated software. Samsung clearly learned from that misstep, and here's something that's flying under the radar. Samsung is updating its internal update tool called Phota firmware over the air to support faster, smaller downloads. That means future One UI updates might come in smaller packages, install faster, and use less data, so even mid-range phones with limited storage benefit. Now, what does this mean for older phones like the Galaxy A54 or Galaxy S21? If the S23F is running One UI 8 early, that increases the chances that the A series and even the S21 series could see stable builds earlier than expected, possibly before the year ends. Of course, not every phone will get every feature. Samsung's been using feature tearing for a while now, and some AI-driven tools will be reserved for Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 and newer. But the core Android 16 improvements, like predictive back gestures, revamped settings menus, better background app management, they'll come to nearly every phone that gets One UI 8. Based on Samsung's update policy, here's a quick list of devices we believe are getting One UI 8 with Android 660, Galaxy S23 S23, 23 Galaxy S24 series, Galaxy Z Fold 5, Z Flip 5, Galaxy Z Fold 6, Z Flip 6 pre-installed Galaxy S22 series, Galaxy A54 FE3, possibly Trilux Tab S9 series, Galaxy S21 series. Last major update, and notice something. The S23 FE might actually receive the update before the S22 Ultra or Fold 5, which is wild. So what should you do if you own the S23 FE or plan to buy it? Keep your eyes on the Samsung Members app. That's where the One UI beta program will go live when it opens publicly. Also, enable diagnostic data sharing. It sounds scary, but it often gets you into beta programs faster because Samsung uses that data to prioritize devices. And if you're on a carrier-locked version, be patient. Historically, unlocked models get the update first, especially in South Korea, Germany, and the US. In the meantime, keep your device updated to the latest security patch and back up your data if you plan to jump into the beta once it's live. Beta software isn't always stable, but it gives you a front row seat to Samsung's biggest software shift in years. Now let's address a rumor. Some blogs claim the S23 FE's Android 16 update was a fluke or a mislabeling of Android 14 builds. But if you look at the build ID and kernel info, it lines up exactly with early Android 16 developer builds from Google's Pixel testing. This isn't a labeling error, it's the real deal. That also means Samsung might skip a full public developer preview and go straight to a closed beta on select phones. We've seen this strategy before, especially when Samsung wants to avoid bad press during early stages. One more juicy bit, some internal UI strings point to a new Samsung AI assistant, not just Bixby. We don't have a name yet, but code strings reference something called Project Sage, which appears to be a natural language layer that integrates with system settings, SmartThings, Notes, and even Samsung Health. Could this be a ChatGPT-style assistant baked into One UI 8? Possibly. If that's true, the S23 FE might be one of the first Galaxy phones to test it in real-world conditions. That could make it one of the most important test devices Samsung has released in recent memory. And let's be honest, no one expected the S23 FE to take this role. It's not flashy, it's not the flagship, but right now it's quietly shaping the future of Galaxy software. So here's what you should take away from all of this. If you own the Galaxy S23 FE, you're in for something big. Not just a typical update, but possibly the most important test drive of Samsung's AI-first future. And if Samsung nails it, this strategy could change how every Galaxy device gets software forever. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the moment One UI 8 beta drops. We'll have full coverage, features breakdowns, side-by-side comparisons, and live demos the second it goes live. Trust me, you don't want to blink right now. Big things are happening quietly. And this time, it starts with the underdog. This is Sam signing off for now, but stay tuned. Because in the world of Samsung, the quietest moves often turn out to be the loudest in the end.